Hey guys, MJ here from Nightcore Singapore. Now, a ton of you have mentioned the ARKFELD, right, and the WEDGE as competitors to the Nightcore EDC27. Right, so I went out to buy them just to see how they stack up against each other. And the biggest mistake that you might be making when choosing your lights. Right, so before we begin, if you want to win this latest EDC27, right, make sure you subscribe to this channel and comment below on what other lights you like to see me stack Nightcore up against. Right, it can be any brand as long as I can get my hands on it. I'll do a head-to-head, just like this video. Right, so once we hit 500 likes, I'll announce the winner in the description box below. Right, just because a tool looks the same doesn't mean it makes sense to compare them. Right, between the Nightcore EDC27, the olight, ARKFELD, and streamlight WEDGE, right, they were all designed for very different users because the experience of using each light is different. And that's how I think about lights when I look at them. As long as the experience of using it matches what you need, then that is going to be the best light for you. So here's how I would break it down. There are three main types of users and each have their own needs around flashlights. So the first user is a first responder, police, military type users. Right, they are going to be looking for three things. One is a quick draw to hammer fist for readiness, high power burst for patrols and clearing, and momentary switches for signaling and stealth. Okay, so first up, quick draw to hammer fist. Let's say drawing from a vest, belt or pocket. The EDC wins hands down because all the controls are on the back here. Alright, once you draw up a hammer fist, you're ready to go. Right, left or right hand doesn't matter. You always, all controls on the back. Okay, the other two lights have no tail switches. Right, so after you draw, you have to transition to forward grip, right, turn on, and then go back to hammer fist. Right, then every time you change brightness, you got to break grip and press, or you got to use your other hands to, change the brightness. So this is a big no, especially if you're moving with a weapon hand. Right, you gotta, you literally can't turn off the light with your weapon in hand. So next, high power burst for patrols and clearing. The EDC27 can go from low mode 15 lumens to full 3000 lumens and back again. Right, the WEDGE, you can do that as well. So just flick up here for 300 lumens, you turn it on and then you push it up again for that 1000 lumen burst. Once you let go, it drops back down. So you're always stuck at 300 lumens, which is okay, right? It's a good brightness for general purpose, but you're forced to do it in this forward grip, right, which is not effective from a tactical standpoint. Right, tactical, you always want to be in hammer fist. For the ARK, you have to press and hold the blue button, turn it on, and then press and hold to cycle the different brightness. Right, once you get what you want, and then you let go, and then you're there. You can also double tap to go from high, double tap to go from low again. Right, and you're still in this pencil forward grip, so this is a big no. Next, momentary switches for signaling and stealth. EDC27, no problem. I can signal low, right? I can signal turbo, I can signal in strobe, right? 3 long, 3 short, no problem, it's fantastic. The WEDGE, you can for a bit, right? But you gotta use your thumb and keep pushing forward. Like, so if you have gloves or wet hands, you're gonna lose grip on this. It's actually impossible to signal properly. For the ARK, you can't do any kind of signaling because it is a tap control. If you press too fast, it goes into strobe. Too slow, it goes into turbo and all that. So you literally cannot signal 3 long, 3 short on this thing. Right, it goes into all kinds of crazy modes. The ARK is a no for signaling. We don't even have to go into beam distance, charging and all that because these 3 control points are deal breakers for these type of users. So if you're a first responder, police, military type, no question, the EDC27 is my top pick for you. Alright, next is an industrial maintenance safety inspector type of user. Right, they're going to look for 2 things: hands-free area lighting and multiple functions. Right, for hands-free, the EDC27 doesn't do so well because it can't tail stand to light up a room. Right, the WEDGE can do that, no problem. Like this tail stands perfectly, but you're stuck on 300 lumens. So if you have a high or black ceiling, it's not going to be effective. The ARKFELD wins in this area because it tail stands the most stable. Right, just turn it on, 1000 lumen, and you're set. And because it's magnetic, it even sticks upside down or sideways like this. Right, look at that, that's the ARK. All of them can be shoulder mounted on a shoulder strap or vest because of their pocket clips on the back. Right, so It's all good for that kind of scenarios. Next, multiple functions. Now these type of users carry a lot of gear, and the last thing they want is a tool to do just one thing. That's why many of the work lights have a ton of different functions built into them, like ARS work lights here, right? You got floodlight, you got spotlight, you got your magnetic hook here, right? You also can stand this way, you can point it anywhere you need. This is where the ARKFELD comes up top because it has two outputs, white light and green laser. There's another version with white light and UV light, which is way more useful because it can detect leaks, stains and pest stains. The green laser is a bit odd, right? You think it's useful for work where you point things out to your team at night, but for that to work you need white light and laser so others can actually see what you're pointing at. So it's only useful during day as a laser pointer and at night as a flashlight. It says on the box that you can use it to amuse your pets. No, really, that's what it says. The other lights can only do white light, so for multiple function, especially the UV and white light version wins. The last user is a traveler, hiker, urban EDC type, and they're going to look for 4 things. First, compact, doesn't draw attention, it's there when I need it. Second, self-defense and safety, right? Ease of changing brightness, and last is ease of recharge. Right, so for compact size, all of them are okay because they can sit on the inside of the bag or pocket and not interfere with anything. Right, because these groups of users wouldn't go for something as big as the P20i here, right, and carry around on a daily basis. On the belt, right, this looks like a weapon from afar. So for concealing and not drawing attention, this is not what they would go for, and these are actually all great. For self-defense and safety, you need the light to stick out a good 2 to 3 inches from hammer fist for striking, or in knife terms, this is the ice pick grip. Right, same mechanics. The ARKFELD is a bit too short for this, just a little bit sticking out. The WEDGE and EDC27 are perfect. But in terms of low light, the EDC27 wins because once you pull it out, it's there and you can turn it on. Right, the WEDGE, you pull it out, you have to break grip, find the switch, turn it on, and then go back here. Same as on the ARKFELD, which is even worse because you have to find the tiny button under stress and it's going to be very hard to do. The WEDGE is slightly easier because even if your eyes closed, you can run your finger along the sides to find a switch and just push it on. Which brings me to the next important point, ease of changing brightness. Right, these types of users change brightness often depending on where they are. Like if you're walking your dog, you want to keep it on low, right? Some noise in the bushes up front, you turbo it, and you check, all clear, let go, drop it down back to low again. Right, the light that does this the best is the WEDGE, right, with its very clever 2-state switch here. Right, from off, just push to turn on and push again to go to turbo. Once you let go, it goes back to low. It's so seamless and intuitive, even my grandpa could figure it out. You don't have to think or read the instruction manual to learn it. You give them the EDC27, they can do the same action too, right? From low, right? High, and then let go, goes back to low again. But it's gonna take some training to understand the switches because they are dual stage and there are 2 dual stage switches. So you have to play with it to understand it. Most people don't have the patience for this level of complexity. Especially the senior users, they can't do half press on their thumb. Right, because as you get older, you lose fine motor skills. When you press, it's gonna be just smash or let go. They can't do a half press to get your turbo. Right, the ARKFELD is the worst in this area because I have it on low. Right, then the laser came on. So if I have it on low, and then I got a double tap at a certain speed to bring it on high, then double tap down to go to low again. If I do it too slow or too fast, it turns off. If I do it too fast, it goes into strobe. Right, you tell someone to triple press and they'll be like, what? Then if they can't do it, they have to turn on and press and hold, and then wait for the one they want it. Oh, I got it, okay, then let go. Right, so it's so complex. If you have to stop and think about switching, it's not invisible. The light is actually in the way of your task. It's working against you, and that's not good for daily EDC use. In this area, the WEDGE wins for sure. Right, seamless, invisible, anyone can understand it and immediately use it to maximum effect. Next is ease of recharge. Both the EDC27 and the WEDGE uses a USB-C cable here, but the ARKFELD uses a special magnetic base charger with a USB-A connector. So it's easy to, just have a dock to snap on at the end of the day, but it also means there's no other way to charge my light if this cable goes missing or gets damaged. Right, for travel, it also means I have to bring this cable with my ARKFELD. All other lights I can just bring one USB-C cable across all my phones, power banks and everything else. So there's no clear winner in this area, as it could be an upside or downside depending on your device ecosystem. But for me it's annoying because I have transitioned everything into USB-C. And now I have to deal with this USB-A connector and one extra cable. Now the last bit is on runtime, as it cuts across all types of users. And it's one of the most tricky parts to explain to new buyers because the specs on the box are very misleading. On the WEDGE it says 1000 lumens. Right, it makes you feel like you can run 1000 lumens all the time. And on the EDC27 it says here 3000 lumens. So can you run 3000 lumens all the time? Actually, no. The ARKFELD says 1000 lumens on the box, but it can only hold turbo for 4 minutes before it steps down to 300 lumens. Then it goes on for another 2 hours 30 minutes. The WEDGE also says 1000 lumens on the box, but it can only hold turbo for 35 seconds before stepping down to 300 lumens. Then it goes on for 3 hours. Okay, the EDC27 says 3000 lumens on the box, but it only holds that for 15 seconds. Okay, you see the timer here? It's gonna come out soon there. Alright, but to be fair, let's look at the 1000 lumen setting. Okay, so from 200 lumens, you can switch to 1000. Right, because of the much larger battery and heatsink here, it can hold 1000 lumens for 1 hour 45 minutes, or 200 lumens on the lower setting for 3 hours 45 minutes. Now in real life, most people usually use a brightness of around 200 to 300 lumens because that's enough to light up their workspace, right, which is a good 10 to 50 meters all around. That's why you see a lot of work headlamps kept out at 200 to 300 lumens because that's all that's needed. And at 300 lumens, the light runs cooler for longer, and so it doesn't overheat and you maximize battery life. So when runtime is a priority, I always teach clients to look at how it does at 1000 lumens and how it does at 300 lumens. Right, that's the best measure of runtime you get from a light in as real world as possible. Right, so in terms of runtime, both at max brightness and at lower brightness, the EDC27 wins because of the physically larger battery and more efficient heatsink at the back here. So that's it. I hope that gave you a very clear picture of who these lights were designed for. If you ask me which one I prefer, it's the EDC27 because I prefer a high maximum brightness, longer runtime and self-defense ability for the work I do and places I visit. Alright, remember, if the experience of using the light works for you, then that's the perfect light for you. Right? Don't go buying a light because it's the brightest or the smallest. See how it works, right? Understand the way it can be used, then make a decision. Now, these lights are not sponsored. I bought them all on my own. If you want to see more head-to-head comparisons with other brands like this, comment down below on what you'd like to see and consider joining the channel membership. Right, it helped me put out better content for you guys to make better buying decisions. Right, remember to subscribe below and I'll see you on the next video. I'm Jay signing out.